those rules were not in place.
That was advice on TV.
Yeah. But those rules were not in place when all this happened. So there's a way that we can do this bit of the conversation, but we cannot do it with you starting talking about casual sex.
Can I ask the question?
You can ask a question, but let's ask a question in a reasonable way.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question.
Just this bit is really hard for me as well.
I completely understand. I completely understand. Let's talk about some of the stuff that you haven't really been able to speak about at length, which was in September 2020, there was laws established that, well, not laws, but there was guidance given to stop us engaging within having casual sex with people outside of our household, etc., etc. Right?
Do you think you can ask the question in a little bit more respectful way?
So in September 2020, you said, this is what you said, established couples shouldn't be having sex. There should be boundaries. You warned against casual sex, advising the public to stick to well-established relationships and joking, I know I'm in an established relationship. And you told us to remember the basics of hands, face, space.
Yeah.
And throughout that period, hugging was not, I remember you saying that you were looking forward to hugging your mum in the 17th of May. And then all of this stuff comes out with the Sun, the CCTV leak and everything in between.
Yeah.
There's obviously.
Can we just start this section again?
How would you like to start it?
I don't mind all of it except the opening bit about casual sex.
Okay, fine.
I haven't had casual sex with anybody.
Okay.
I fell in love with somebody.
And we're gonna. And let me ask the question, and you can correct the question, right? So there's all of this stuff. Which what I'm saying is from the.
Well, let's start this bit again.
Okay.
And I'll relax.
Okay, fine. But you've got to let me ask the question.
Absolutely.
This is what we do here. We just talk. This isn't.
Yeah, but you've researched a bit about casual sex.
No, I've not even asked the question yet.
Okay, let's get to that bit.
So in September 2020, you said that when asked that only established couples should be having sex. There needs to be boundaries.
No. Okay, so those rules were not in place.
That was advice on TV.
Yeah. But those rules were not in place when all this happened. So there's a way that we can do this bit of the conversation, but we cannot do it with you starting talking about casual sex.
Can I ask the question?
You can ask a question, but let's ask a question in a reasonable way.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question.
Just this bit is really hard for me as well.
I completely understand. I completely understand. I actually haven't asked the question yet.
This is all just a preamble.
No, it's not. What the point that's been leveled at you is very simple. It's that there's a contradiction in what you said and how you behaved. That's what I'm
totally get that bit.
So can I ask that question?
Yeah, go for it.
So the point that's been leveled at you is there's a contradiction in how you behaved versus the guidance you were giving as health secretary.
Yes.
This is not a revelation. I mean, this is
not a revelation.
Exactly. This is what everyone's been saying. Hugging was advised against, distance. There was this whole hands, face, space thing, which we were all told to obey.
Yeah.
And couples were, when asked, you were said to stick within well-established relationships. And you jokingly said, I know I'm in an established relationship. Then this CCTV stuff comes out.
Yeah.
My question is, you talked earlier on about funerals and people going through an immense hardship. People say you were a contradiction.
Yeah.
What's your response to that? How do you receive all of that when this is what everyone says? This is not Steve Bartlett has said it for the first time.
No.
It's what the whole world is saying at you. This is the central thing.
Yeah.
And this is ultimately why you resigned.
That is my response. So I resigned because I broke the social distancing guidelines.
Yeah.
By then they weren't actually rules, they weren't the law, but that's not the point. The point is they were the guidelines that I'd been proposing. And, that happened because I fell in love with somebody. And, I've known Gina for more than half of my life, and we first actually worked together on student radio back in the Oxford days. And I brought her into the department to help with public communications in the same way we brought loads of brilliant people in who were experts in their field. And so we spent a lot of time together, ironically trying to, get me to be able to communicate in a more emotionally intelligent way. And we fell in love. And, that's something that was completely outside of my control. And I regret the the pain that's caused, and the very, very, very public nature. Anybody who's been through this knows how difficult it is, how painful it is. Doing that in public is incredibly painful. And but I fell in love with someone.
Did you fall in love while working together?
Yeah.
Okay.
So nobody. It all happened quite quickly. It actually happened after this sort of thing stopped being, after the rules were lifted, but the guidance was still in place. So I'm not trying to claim that. I hold no bitterness about this, because I broke the rules. I fess up. I broke the guidance, and there were only two people responsible for this, and ultimately that's why I resigned. I took responsibility for my decision and I resigned.
When that CCTV stuff happens, and I'm not going to go into the details of, because I don't want to drag people into this, but I want to understand how that feels. I can only imagine having dealt with a pandemic and then getting this call from the Sun that they're about to leak something.
Yeah.
I don't have the words to describe how that must have all felt.
Yeah.
But tell me, when you get that call.
It was awful. It was awful because, we obviously knew what was going on, but we wanted to do this as unpainfully as possible, and by the release of those images, obviously that caused a huge amount of pain, and it's been. I mean, anybody knows how difficult it is. Ending a relationship, and we have 6 children. It's tough, but Gina and I love each other very deeply. And where are we? 7-8 months later, it gets a bit easier with time. But I have no sort of. I don't hold it against anybody because we were. I take responsibility.
Have they figured out where that footage came from?
Yeah, so many people ask me this question.
Everyone's asked the question.
And do you know the honest feeling I have in response to that question is I just don't care. Right? Actually, there's a funny story, which is that the best I know is that it was one of the security guards in the department. There's a current ICO investigation. I don't know any of the details of that investigation. I haven't got any inside information other than that which is public. However, the investigation is based on a law, data protection law, that I took through Parliament, into which I personally put a journalistic exemption. So I don't hold it against the journalists for publishing it, but obviously, it was a very serious data protection breach, if you like. The thing that we've learned, and I think all my other colleagues in cabinet learned immediately, is why did you have a CCTV in the Secretary of State's office? Obviously, I didn't know about it, because even who's in the office is an important fact and a sensitive piece of information. But all of that is by the by, because it is not the responsibility of others that those social distancing guidelines were broken. That is my responsibility, and I took responsibility for having done that.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.